compliments of the season, and of course, you're welcome to today in the news on Vanguard Live. We're coming from a period where everybody was like me and mine, wearing pajamas up and down. And if you didn't get a chance to wear pajamas with anyone this year, try next year. All right, you're welcome to today in the news on Vanguard Live. I'm Precious Chickadee, and of course, we'll be starting off with the front pages of the papers this morning. And we're looking at Vanguard first. Vanguard is leading with Scarcity. NNPC sells petrol for 148 naira, private depot 215 naira. Rider says Ipman begins lifting from NNPC January 2023. Transporters hike fares, commuters stranded. NMDPRA not monitoring compliance. Stakeholder harps on PIA implementation. On page 11, we have despite new bridge, gridlock persists in crossing River Niger. Suspected jihadis killed 17 headers in Borno. On page 6, a Black Christmas, one killed, 45 abducted as gunmen invade Kaduna community. Cow kills Bayelsa ex-youth leader. On page 8, 2023, Obi supporters kick as Atiku Obi campaign posters emerge in Bauchi. RAHEEM, killer policeman, accomplices to face orderly rule trial. Utile, Igbo land must be peaceful. Nnamdi Kanu tells IPOB ESN. Stories above Hamatan, NCAA warns pilot airlines of hazardous weather. On page 25, Nigerians LPG market dips 35% to 846,000 tons in 1 year. Christmas, Kukah's message validates Nigeria's experience under APT's 8 years. That's come from PDP campaign. And lastly, on the front page of Vanguard newspaper, we have Nigeria's insurers cede 128 billion naira oil and gas premium to foreign firms. Let's take a look at the Guardian newspaper. The Guardian is leading with 2023 ease frustration as Nigerians queue for PVCs. The writer says INEC updates on exercise. Voters demand improved modalities. Residents disagree over allegation of sharp practices. NCAA cautions local operators on safety as bad weather disrupts flight globally. World Bank warns of imminent global recession, debt distress. You can see that on page 15. Stories above. NBA demands full disclosure of details of lawyers' killings. Imo PDP raised the alarm over plots to frame arrest candidates for insecurity. Nigerians reject 200% third-party vehicle insurance premium hike. Nigeria, let us turn a new page. That's coming from Bishop Kukah. For Lagos to go, Agbero must go. And that's coming from Gbadebo Vivo. And let's take a look at the Nation newspaper. The Nation is leading with disquiet in PDP over week's marking days, the other trip to UK. Rider says G5 governors on retreat to decide on preferred presidential candidates. Investors take a 3 trillion naira on Nigerians' equity. Local stock bullish. On we can see stories below on page 3. Outrage trails the killing of expectant lawyer by policeman at checkpoint. Rider says how she was shot before husband, kids by colleague. Sonwolu IGNBA seek justice. Stories above. Food prices shot up by 29% within 12 months. Unremitted 200 million naira check-off dues divide pensioners. You can see that on page 7. And that's how we can take on the front page of the Nation. Let's take a look at the Punch newspaper. The Punch is leading with CBN monitors of 6,047 BVNs over suspected fraudulent transactions. The wire says central bank examines 28 bank customers' operations, 17.8 trillion 89 million bank accounts not linked with BVN. 144 properties forfeited by fraudsters, looters for auction. Stories below, we have a student fought fee hike, universities demand review. Policeman kills graduate, Edo family begs IG. 124 billion naira weapons imported in 4 years. That's coming from a report. Stories above. PCC kicks over governor's threat to dump article. Domestic airfare soars by 97%. That's coming from NBS. IMF warns Nigeria over dwindling oil revenue. And lastly, on the front page of Punch newspaper, how Lagos policeman killed my pregnant wife, lawyer's husband. And that's all we can take on the front pages of the papers. Join us after the break. We'll be right back. welcome back. If you're just joining us today in the news on Mango Life, I am Precious Chukudi. Joining me to talk about some of the stories on the front pages of the papers this morning is Mr. Dayo Akintobi, publisher of the page today, Keja today, and Lekki today. Good morning. It's good to have you join me this morning.
Good morning, Precious. Good morning. Compliments of the season to you and to all our viewers. May the Yuletide and the New Year bring in lots of good tidings for all Nigerians.
Amen. All right, so let's delve in today, and we're still talking about fuel scarcity. And as you can see, marketers have, taken over, even as they charge between 300 naira and 400 naira per liter. What do you think about it?
The problem is that as we speak, only one entity is importing fuel into Nigeria. That's the NNPC. Now, the NNPC is supplying, I think, at about 168 or 148 or thereabouts. Problem is NNPC doesn't have enough to supply. So if you are able to get supply from NNPC at 148, you can sell at the official rate. But the private depots, they are buying at about 200 and something. So they have to sell to the independent marketers at about 220. So this is the issue. There's a disparity. So what you find now is that the ones that are able to buy officially from NNPC, they can sell at the official rate of 169. Most of the petrol stations are not open because they don't have supply. So the ones that are open are the ones that are buying from private depot where it costs more and they have supply, but you have to pay a whole lot more. So it kind of reminds me of that parallel market of foreign exchange. We now have parallel market for fuel because there's the official rate and there's the black market rate. The official rate, you can never get it. All the fuel stations that are selling official rate, they don't have product. So you now have to go to the black market or the parallel market to buy your fuel, but you have to pay 220 for it. So this is the problem. I think that government needs to be serious about this Petroleum Industry Act. That bill was written in a way to cure all these supply problems. That's why NNPC was privatized in that bill. That's why the whole downstream thing was restructured. It was meant to cure all these hitches in the supply chain. But a year after it's passed here, we are still complaining about shortages. The regulatory agencies are hamstrung. They are not able to go about and enforce the official rate. And we're back where we started, in spite of the fact that this PIA took 10, 15 odd years to pass, and it was supposed to be the panacea that would eliminate all problems in the supply chain, but it's not happening. So it's disheartening, especially at a time like this, in this festive season, because now this lack of fuel is causing transportation costs to rise, it's causing food prices to rise. There are no vehicles on the road because all of them are queuing at the station. Those who are able to buy fuel are buying it expensively. So transportation costs have doubled. That's why you see that many people weren't able to travel for Christmas. Many people weren't able to celebrate and felicitate in the way they normally would because costs are just out of reach.
Okay, still talking about your transportation that you mentioned, like what's an issue that we have is that people are paying like 5 times the real transport rates that they would always pay before as a result of these fuels. But then it's now beginning to look like a common occurrence. Like actually during the festive period, we always have fuel scarcity. What do you think about it?
It's not just during the festive period. Also, it seems as if towards the end of one administration, when an administration is about to go out, this kind of things start happening. One conspiratorial mind will look at it and say, are there some forces at work making this happen? Because it's too often and too repeated for it to be a coincidence. But yes, it seems to be a pattern during festive seasons, during when an administration is about to go out, we encounter this kind of problem. But as I said earlier, it's a structural problem. The foundational underpinning is faulty. That's why the PIB was passed to address these issues, but it is not being implemented. It's just a piece of paper sitting somewhere gathering dust. It's not being implemented. If the tenets of the PIA were being addressed and enforced and implemented, we wouldn't have these supply issues. So we need to, all the candidates that are jockeying for the presidency now should start telling Nigerians how they would address this issue if we were to give them our vote. I've heard one of them say, I will remove subsidy, which of course is part of the problem as well. One has said, I will remove subsidy. Okay, but so you remove subsidy. How does that help supply to be consistent? How does that help pricing? Now, we're not sure if Nigeria has deregulated fuel or has not deregulated. We're kind of like in a partial deregulation. Government is still setting official price. Yet, government is saying the independent marketers are free to buy and this and that at their own discretion. So either we fully deregulate or we fully control. We can't be in the middle. It's mishmash. It's wishy-washy. When you're neither here nor there, what happens is this disruption we are beginning to see. So government should have the political will to say, look, we are fully deregulating, let market forces dictate. And then we will put in whatever cushioning measures are required. I think one of the very first things we need to look at is refining locally. So hopefully in 2023, Dangote refinery will come online. I think that will ease some of our woes because petrol will be readily available locally without us having to depend on the international market. Government is also backing some small modular refineries that should be coming online. So I'm optimistic that in 2023 we'll begin to see an improvement.
All right, so let's move ahead and talk about this one. Now, the PDP campaign has hailed the consistency of Bishop Kukah in always telling the truth to power at great personal risk. Now, looking at some of the things that he mentioned, that's on his Christmas messages. What do you think about it, basically?
You said the PDP hailed, but I also saw the APC slammed.
Exactly.
So it depends on what side of the fence
Yes,
you are
you
sitting on.
exactly.
The PDP said, oh yes, you've done. Of course, PDP is opposition. So anybody who is speaking against the government
Yes.
in power, the PDP will hail. So PDP said, oh yes, he's always spoken truth to power. He's done it again. He doesn't bite his tongue at great personal risk. He calls a spade a spade. And the crux of what Bishop Kukah said in this is Christmas message, this particular one, was that this administration has failed. And he particularly put the blame at the feet of President Buhari. He said President Buhari is leaving office in good health, but is leaving Nigerians in pain. And that is unconscionable. And that by no measure can you look at that and consider it a pass mark on a report card. He also blamed nepotism. He said the nepotistic tendencies of our president in administering the country is what has played a major role both in our arrested development and in the division that characterizes all our people, whether ethnic divisions, religious divisions, in fact, even economic divisions, that those divisions have been widened and exacerbated under this president. One thing I've known about Bishop Kukah from his antecedents and his history is that he has always looked at the condition of Nigerians from the standpoint of the common man. He has always looked, he sees his pulpit as a platform to advocate for a better quality of life for the masses. Even though he does it from a religious underpinning, his ultimate motive is to seek a better life for everyday Nigerians. So I have never had cause to fault anything he has said. And I don't think he's biased, because the same way he's talking against this government now, he also talked about previous governments. So it's not as if he has it against Buhari or he has it against APC. When PDP was in power, he spoke up against them as well. So I think that gives him some measure of credibility, that he is neutral, he's unbiased, he's objective, and he's simply speaking the truth. Now, APC, of course, on the other hand, we said PDP hailed him. APC has slammed him and have said that, oh, he's unfair, he's not neutral, he's simply wanting to malign the president and the government. And, well, that's what you would expect. You would expect that since he's speaking against the government in power, that party will not be happy with what he said, and the opposition is all politics.
All right, so let's move ahead and talk about this one. And this one is a very sad story about the killing of the legal practitioner, that's Bolanle RAHEEM. And it's just barely 3 weeks ago when we heard that a 31-year-old man was, killed too as well. And it looks
from
like
the same police station.
Same police station, Ajiwe police station to be precise. What do you think about the situation?
It's unconscionable. I keep using that word unconscionable because so many things are happening that should not be happening. That a human life could be wasted more cheaply than that of a chicken is painful. And to me, what's even more painful, I read Governor Sanwo-Olu's statement yesterday saying that they will seek justice for Mrs. RAHEEM. And what came to my mind is, what does seeking justice mean? Does it bring the dead back?
Yes.
Seeking justice, to me, doesn't begin to scratch the surface. Even if you convict the guy, you penalize him, will that ease the pain of the loss from her loved ones?
Yeah.
So So I think seeking justice is overrated. Why don't we prevent these things from happening in the first case so that we don't have to be crying over spilt milk? Because seek justice, what does that mean? Okay, so vengeance. Okay, right now the police man, they say he and his the other 2 or 3 people in the checkpoint, they've been arrested. They're going to go through an orderly room trial. That is a internal police inquiry and investigation and adjudication. It's not open to the public, so we will not know the outcome. Generally, after orderly room trial, you don't hear anything again and say, oh, they were dismissed. So is that justice? Even if after the orderly room trial, they should be prosecuted publicly for us all to see. After police has done their own, they should not be taken to a normal court as civilians after police has dealt with them internally, and then be prosecuted publicly, maybe even have television cameras in the courtroom. Let them be convicted. Let us hear their penalty. Is it life sentence? Is it death sentence? What is it that is being meted out to them that people will consider justice has been done? Justice has not brought that life back. So rather than issues of seeking justice after the fact, when the genie is out of the bottle, you can't put it back in. Why should we be seeking justice after the fact? Why don't we prevent these things from happening in the first case? That's the real justice for me, is to prevent them from happening. How do we do that? Our police need to be better trained, better funded. Why should we be having people in police duty? Word is that the man was drunk or he was under the influence of alcohol or drugs. Why should we be having police officers that are even under the influence of alcohol on duty? Should we install breathalyzer machines at police stations so that each time they're going out, they are tested? Do we have random testing that they have supervisors like they do in Western countries who go around on patrol and test them randomly while on duty so that you can fish out the bad eggs? I want to ask a question. Some of our police officers, do they undergo psychological testing? Do we even know if some of these people are mentally balanced? Otherwise, how do you account for the fact that a policeman will pull you over for a stop and search? You are trying to park, or even if you are trying to flee, the next thing he knows how to do is to cock his gun and pull the trigger. This is a time bomb waiting to explode. We obviously have a lot of incompetent, incapable people in the police force, and they are a danger to all of us every day. So police reform is very necessary. I know they've passed reform acts for police, but it has to do with remuneration, their pay, their barracks, their promotions. But how about their operational tactics and strategies? How about their internal qualifications and the standards by which, well, I mean, what's wrong with saying that anybody who wants to enter the police force must have a minimum of an OND or a degree? And then we pay them commensurately after a battery of psychological tests, after massive training, the way the military does. Why can't we up the standards of our police force so that you and I can be safer? That throwaway phrase, the police is your friend, in Nigeria is not true. The police are supposed to be your friend and protect you, are the very ones that are a danger to us. So how do we reconcile that? It's a big problem.
One of the things that we always talk about is, like you rightly mentioned, is justice. I mean, this happened 3 weeks ago, and this is another person again who has happened to that the 31-year-old man who was killed, and where it was first justice for this person, now justice again for Mobile, but we don't even know who is next because it looks like the police actually they're not even like they're not taking lessons whatsoever. It's like, because they know that nothing will be done, they just continue with their normal days and their normal lives and everything. All right, let's just move ahead and then talk about this one, and that's despite the new bridge. That's the temporary opening of the Niger Bridge. We're still hearing complaints about traffic gridlock from the old bridge. What do you think about this?
Well, first of all, you have to recognize the fact that there's a massive amount of traffic passing through there. And then old habits die hard. Some people might still be intimidated by going to go and try the new bridge. Some people are more familiar with the old bridge, and familiarity, we're comfortable with familiarity. So some people might have preferred to still be using the old one as opposed to going to try out the new one. And then, of course, there's the fact that the old one is old, it's narrow, it can't take that much traffic. So at a festive period like this, without a doubt, even with the new bridge opening, there will still be some measure of gridlock. But by and large, the truth be told is that it can't be as bad as it used to be before the new bridge was there. That's not to say that everything will start flowing smoothly immediately and there'll be no gridlock at all on either of the two bridges, but I can be sure that it's not as bad as it used to be before the new bridge was opened.
All right.
It'll improve.
All right,
Yeah.
let's take a look at Mr. and Mrs. Mrs. is speaking this one. She says, "Dear, your birthday was 3 days ago, and you've not finished the piece of cake I served you." And then Mr. replies and says, "I'm tired of eating this type of cake. Why can't you guys put pieces of assorted meat like cow leg, cow tail, etc. in the cake instead?"
Well, that's a meat cake. That would be interesting to see. Mr. wants more a richer
I'm telling
experience.
you.
Well, he should drop the money. If he
Exactly.
drops the money for all
Tell
those
me more.
assorted, we'll put it in the cake for him. I'm sure Mrs. won't mind to do that.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Daya Akintobi. Thank you for sharing your thought with us. The publisher of Literature Today, Keja today, and Lekki today. Thank you for coming to our show this morning. Also, remember that you can equally like, share, and subscribe on all our social media platforms showing on your screen on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Also, our WhatsApp number is displayed on your screen. To find out up-to-date stories, go to our website www.vanguardngr.com to find out more. I am Precious Chukudi, and thank you for watching. Have a fantastic week.